In the previous episodes, we witnessed the dramatic rise of Pulakeshin II. After the death of his uncle Mangalesha, the Chalukya Empire was plunged into a devastating civil war. The young prince fought against overwhelming odds and eventually emerged victorious, securing the throne of Vatapi and restoring stability to the kingdom. With his position secure, Pulakeshin began reuniting the fractured empire. The powerful Gangas of Talakat submitted to his authority and became loyal allies of the Chalukyas. The king then turned his attention westward. The Kadambas, once a formidable dynasty of Karnataka, were defeated and brought under Chalukya control, further strengthening Pulakeshin's hold over the Deccan. Finally, Pulakeshin launched a naval expedition against the Mauryas of Konkan, a small maritime kingdom that had rebelled during the Chalukya Civil War. A fleet of Chalukya ships crossed the sea and captured their capital, Puri, located near present-day Elephanta Island. With the fall of Puri, the Mauryas were subdued and Chalukya authority over the Konkan coast was restored. Now, with the Western Deccan united under his banner, Pulakeshin II stands at the beginning of an even greater chapter of conquest and empire building. Welcome back to Battleshield YouTube channel. If you enjoy Indian history and epic battles, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Now, without wasting any more time, let's dive into the rise of one of the greatest emperors in Indian history, Pulakeshin II. In 617 to 618 CE, Pulakeshin sent a strong Chalukya incursion toward eastern India to expand his empire's influence. This eastern campaign was not one long war, but a series of quick submissions where many regional rulers accepted Chalukya suzerainty without major conflict. It is also important to note that earlier, during the reign of Kirtivarman, the Chalukyas had already conquered the Nala region. This earlier victory gave the Chalukyas a strong foothold in the eastern frontier and helped later expansion. The first major submission came from Dakshina Kosala. The Sharabhapurya dynasty had disintegrated around 590 CE, leaving Dakshina Kosala fragmented and politically unstable for nearly 3 decades. Although the Pandavamshas had begun to emerge, they were still a relatively small power and had not yet unified the region. By the time Pulakeshin II marched into Dakshina Kosala in 617 CE, the kingdom was still suffering from a power vacuum, with local rulers and tribal chiefs competing for influence. Recognizing this opportunity, Pulakeshin invaded the region, and many local rulers and tribes accepted Chalukya suzerainty rather than oppose the rising power of the Chalukya Empire. In the eastern campaign of early 618 CE, Pulakeshin continued expanding Chalukya influence deep into eastern India. During this phase, the Chalukyas brought the Eastern Ganga dynasty under their vassalage. At that time, the Eastern Gangas were also feudatories of the Vishnukundina dynasty, which controlled much of the Andhra and Vengi region. This shift in loyalty created serious tension. The Vishnukundina rulers saw the growing Chalukya influence over their vassals as a direct threat to their authority. As a result, the Vishnukundina dynasty became openly hostile toward the advancing Chalukya forces. Around this time, a major political shift reshaped the balance of power in southern India. The Pallava dynasty and the Vishnukundina kingdom, once bitter rivals, put aside their differences and forged an alliance. Faced with the rapid rise of Pulakeshin II and the expanding power of the Chalukya Empire. Both kingdoms recognized that only a united front could hope to stop the Chalukya advance. The Vishnukundina kingdom, ruled by King Mahendravarman, strengthened its frontier defenses by supporting its loyal feudatories. One of the most important among them was King Prithvi Maharaja of the Durjaya dynasty, who governed the strategic fortress city of Pishtapura on behalf of the Vishnukundinas. When news of this alliance reached the Chalukya court, Pulakeshin II understood that delaying his response would only allow his enemies to grow stronger. Determined to seize the initiative, he launched a military campaign into the rich and strategically vital Vengi region. Leading a battle-hardened army, Pulakeshin advanced toward Pishtapura. To stop the Chalukya invasion, Prithvi Maharaja, supported by forces sent by Vishnukundina King Mahendravarman, marched out to confront the invaders near Koleru. There, the allied Durjaya and Vishnukundina armies attempted to block the Chalukya advance before it could reach the fortress. Pulakeshin II advanced with the main Chalukya army while keeping a strong cavalry reserve hidden within the nearby forest. Opposing him was the Durjaya ruler Prithvi Maharaja, whose army was supported by Vishnukundina troops sent by the Vishnukundina kingdom. Prithvi deployed his main force near the banks of Koleru Lake while holding back a reserve force of his own. As the battle began, the main armies clashed fiercely near the riverbank. Seeing an opportunity, Prithvi Maharaja led his reserve force in an attempt to outflank the Chalukya army and ambush its main force from the rear. At that very moment, the Chalukya cavalry reserve emerged from another direction through the forest and intercepted Prithvi Maharaja's advancing force. The two reserve armies fought a brief but fierce engagement within the forest. Unable to break through the Chalukya cavalry, Prithvi Maharaja was forced to retreat towards Kalinga with the remnants of his reserve force. With the enemy reserve driven off, the Chalukya cavalry advanced onto the main battlefield. Supported by a powerful elephant charge, the Chalukya army shattered the morale of the Durjaya and Vishnukundina forces. Many soldiers were killed, many fled the battlefield, and a large number surrendered to Pulakeshin II. The defeat of the Durjaya army left Pishtapura exposed. Pulakeshin II advanced against the fort and, after a short siege, captured the city. This victory was highly important, as Pishtapura was a key stronghold controlling access to the eastern territories. The capture of Pishtapura alarmed the Vishnukundina ruler, Mahendravarman. Realizing that he could not face the Chalukyas alone, he sent an envoy to the Pallava court requesting military assistance against Pulakeshin's advancing forces. Mahendravarman responded by mobilizing his army and marching northward. For the Pallavas, allowing the Chalukyas to establish control over the eastern Deccan would pose a direct threat to their own interests. Pulakeshin, meanwhile, was informed of the Pallava movement and advanced to intercept them before the two allied kingdoms could coordinate further operations. The two armies eventually met near the village of Pulalur in 618 CE. This engagement would become known as the Battle of Pulalur and mark the beginning of the long Chalukya-Pallava struggle. The Pallava battle line probably relied on infantry forming the main body of the army. supported by cavalry on the flanks and elephants positioned at key points of the formation. Such deployments were designed to maintain cohesion while allowing different units to support one another during battle. Pulakeshin II, however, was an experienced commander who understood that victory in battle did not always come from inflicting the greatest number of casualties. More often, it came from breaking the enemy's formation and destroying its cohesion. According to traditional accounts, before the battle, he prepared his elephant corps for an aggressive assault. Some traditions even claim that the elephants were given intoxicating drinks to make them more ferocious and difficult to stop once the charge began. As the battle commenced, the Chalukya elephant corps advanced first. Their mission was not simply to trample enemy soldiers, but to shatter the disciplined Pallava battle line. The charging elephants crashed into the front ranks, creating panic, opening gaps, and disrupting communication between units. Although the Pallava infantry and elephants fought back fiercely, the disruption created the opportunity Pulakeshin had been waiting for. Chalukya infantry surged into the weakened sectors, while their cavalry kept the Pallava horsemen occupied on the flanks, preventing them from reinforcing the center. What had begun as a single, well-organized battle line soon turned into a series of isolated engagements. As the Chalukyas continued to exploit the growing disorder, Pallava officers found it increasingly difficult to coordinate their troops. Communication broke down, units became separated, and the once disciplined formation gradually collapsed under relentless pressure. Realizing that the battle could no longer be won, Mahendravarman ordered a retreat to preserve what remained of his army. The surviving Pallava forces withdrew toward their capital, leaving Pulakeshin II with one of the most significant victories of his southern campaign. Following the Battle of Pulalur, Pulakeshin II sought to capitalize on his victory. Marching deeper into Pallava territory, the Chalukya emperor advanced toward the great Pallava capital of Kanchi. However, despite his battlefield success, the formidable fortifications of the city proved too strong to breach. Unable to penetrate Kanchi's defenses, Pulakeshin abandoned the siege and continued his campaign further south. The Chalukya army then ravaged parts of northern and central Tamil country, pushing as far as the banks of the Kaveri River. This bold advance demonstrated the reach of Chalukya power deep into the southern peninsula. Yet the resistance of the Pallavas and their allies, particularly the Cholas, prevented Pulakeshin from establishing lasting control over the region. Having showcased his military strength but unable to secure the submission of the southern kingdoms, Pulakeshin eventually began his march back toward Vengi. Nevertheless, the campaign greatly enhanced his prestige across South India. In the aftermath of these events, the Chera and Pandya rulers acknowledged Chalukya supremacy and accepted Pulakeshin's suzerainty, further strengthening his position as one of the most powerful monarchs of his age. The campaign had not destroyed the Pallava Kingdom, but it had established Pulakeshin as the dominant force in the Deccan and a ruler whose influence now extended to the far south of the Indian peninsula. The scars left by the invasion were deep. The Pallava realm had survived, but the destruction caused by the Chalukya advance severely weakened the kingdom. Mahendravarman would spend the rest of his reign consolidating Pallava power. The Chalukya king was not finished with his ambitions. His growing empire now faced another powerful ruler, Harsha, the king of northern India. Their armies would eventually meet on the banks of the Narmada river. The outcome would establish a new frontier between the powers of northern and southern India. But the struggle was not limited to the Pallavas and Chalukyas. The Vishnu-Kundina dynasty, which had once controlled much of the eastern Deccan, was coming under increasing pressure from the Chalukyas. The conflict would eventually reach Pishtapura, where the Vishnu-Kundinas would suffer a decisive defeat. The remnants of the Vishnu-Kundina kingdom would make one final attempt to survive. In the next episode, we will learn about these battles and events in more detail. Thank you for watching Battle Shield.